I'm Tom Ellsworth, the BizDoc, and welcome back to Numbers Scream. We're going through 5 things where the numbers are scream. They're going to tell us what's going on. I'm going to give you some words, but the numbers are going to do the screaming. First of all, the S&P has hit 62 trillion in total valuation. Big. Then we're going to go who wins the tariff war, or who's winning the tariff war, country by country. I'll take you through it. Then Trump's Fed chair pick. A lot of things going on with the Fed. Jerome Powell is facing an indictment this week, or maybe not facing an indictment, but either way, the next chair is very important. Then we're going to go get to credit cards. Credit cards and BNPL, which is buy now, pay later, or buy now, pour later, which is having a huge impact on consumer credit. Then it's Apple versus Alphabet. Guess who is bigger? I'm going to tell you this week. First up, the S&P hit 62 trillion. Why is that important? Here we go. Let's go to the first slide here. The market capitalization. What the market capitalization is the total value of all of the S&P. The S&P 500 companies, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see, as you can see, has been going up. This was April 1st was Liberation Day 2025, when all the Trump tariffs, or a huge number of them, went into effect. The stock market went, oh my God, we're all gonna die, and dropped down, as you can see. But then it's been a steady ride back. But a steady ride for who? Well, corporate America, there's a little building, that's corporate. Up the line, they're pretty happy with it. But guess what? Americans are pretty neutral on it, and I'll tell you why. Right now, half of America is benefiting from all-time high of home value and overall asset value, or net worth, of the consumer. The top half is enjoying a very steady ride. The home's worth more, the 401k is worth more, independent investments are worth more, the IRA is worth more, all for the top half. Meanwhile, the bottom half, the report from the Wall Street Journal and in Reuters, everybody is saying the same thing. The bottom half, the lower 50%, is having more financial stress today than they had in 2008. That is a very bad sign, even though that's 17 years ago, and I'm going to show you why a little bit later. But right now, 62 trillion market cap. Some people say the market's due for a correction. I think it's going to be steady. You heard me say that I believe we're heading for 7,700 this year. That's one of my 2026 predictions. Second up, the tariff war. What countries are benefiting? What countries are being hit a little bit? Let's take a look. Where is that? Here we go. Well, which countries are winning and losing? That's what we're talking about here. Here's the 5 that are doing okay. Mexico, Canada, UK, Singapore, and Italy. Everybody who played ball. Maybe not initially, but they did play ball. And then down here, the people that didn't play ball, and Trump got tough with them: China, India, Brazil, Switzerland, and South Korea. It's almost brick. It would be brick if you had Russia in here. The point is, the tariffs were going to be tactics, not taxes. As I said last year in my prediction for 2025, and I was right, I got an A on that one. You can see what has happened here. People that got in line and played ball with the United States have leveled the playing field, and things are going to be okay. Other people are down significantly. Z, you didn't want to play ball, and so China down, India down, Brazil down, Switzerland down, South Korea down. So as you can see, the tariffs are having their effect. But guess what? People say this is an unfair tax on America. Well, it hasn't really shown up in inflation the way everybody said it was going to. I said it wouldn't last year. I said that the tariffs would be tactics to get people to play ball, not taxes. And guess what? We're seeing that that's exactly what happened. And so very interesting. Who's winning the tariff war? People that aligned with the United States and made a level playing field at the border. They are benefiting. Number 3, who's going to be Trump's Fed chair pick? Well, 2 people have been in the lead, or not in the lead, or making a comeback. Look at this. This is only since January 6th. There's Christmas. After Christmas has really tightened up. But let's take a look at what's going on. The blue is Kevin Hassett, who I think is probably the guy. And the green is Kevin Warsh, that other people think is the guy. I mean, you can see what has happened here. They crossed here, they crossed here, they crossed here, they crossed here, and right now, Kevin Warsh is in the lead above Hassett. And so we have people that are making wagers, putting up on Kalshi what they think. Take a look at this. 31 million, just a shade under $31 million is being wagered on who's going to be the chairman of the Fed, with Warsh sitting there in the lead position. That's what the people think on Kalshi, but what do you think? Put a comment below, or better yet, get yourself a Kalshi account and weigh in on who you think is going to be head of the Fed. Fourth, credit cards versus BNPL, buy now, pay later versus buy now, pour later. Now, there was a lot of controversy at the end of last year at BNPL. People are saying BNPL should be on your credit report. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, we all know what it is. Our credit card usually has in that you get your credit card app from Chase or Wells Fargo or B of A, any of their Citi, any of the majors, and at the bottom it says, would you like to see your credit score? And you go and you look at that. Those credit scores are based on Level 8 or Rev 8. Never mind what that means, but there are credit scores, FICO 8, I believe it's called, that's what people are scoring on. Well, there is now a FICO 10 that some of them are putting BNPL in, but not everybody. Why is that bad? Because it means that people can have BNPL balances and maybe they're not really being reviewed when they get a car loan, they refi their mortgage, or they get a credit card limit increase, because BNPL has kind of been hiding below the surface. So let's take a look why that's important. Right now, we are maxed out. This right here is the COVID drop-off where we got government subsidies and America paid their credit card balances down to $777 billion. That was the number right about there. Well, guess what? In 4 short years, look at this, where we've gone. We are at an all-time high right now, the second week of January 2026. All-time high credit card balances. America is maxed out. So what are they doing? Let's go take a look. I'll even spin around this way. Take a look at BNPL transaction volume. Oh my goodness. Here it is, 22, 23, 24, 25. Do you notice something, that it's jumping up the same way the credit card balances did? Why do you think that is? Because they don't have the money, but guess what? Thanks to BNPL, I got my 4K TV and everybody's coming over for the Super Bowl party. But that's not necessarily good. BNPL needs to be a consistent presence on people's credit reports so that credit card companies and your bank can properly evaluate you so you don't have defaults. Because defaults on this is going to lead to a lot of bad things in the economy. Companies are going to suffer with those defaults, especially if they're using BNPL at the point of sale. We can't have that. We need some sensibility out of the consumer, but I'm going to say there's a check engine light on the dashboard of the economy right now, because this is not a good sign for the consumer, and we need the consumer to keep rolling and keep spending if we want the economy to keep rolling. Number 5, Apple versus Alphabet. Let's take a look. This chart simply shows January of the last 6 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. And these little icons are showing you who was more valuable. Apple, $2 trillion. Alphabet, $1 trillion, and so on and so on and so on. And so, whoa, wait a minute. Alphabet is now almost $4 trillion. Apple under $4 trillion. So for the first time in 6 years, my goodness, Alphabet is worth more than Apple. Now, why is that? Let's dive into it. You see the headline, Alphabet more valuable than Apple. Okay, well, what does this mean? Said the casual person who just looked at the Wall Street Journal that was sitting there. Or you saw something on CNBC, or you saw something on a news flash, or you saw something, somebody made a graphic like this, it was on Insta. Let me tell you what it means. What it means that over time is Apple is definitely more valuable, but right about here, who hasn't really picked a dance partner for AI? Apple. And Gemini 3 is better than ChatGPT by some people's assessment. It goes back and forth. Game of Thrones up, Netflix down, Ted Lasso up, which is an Apple product. And so the streaming goes back and forth. Well, right now, Apple doesn't have a dance partner for AI. So when you look at it and you look at what's going on there with Gemini 3 said to be better than ChatGPT right now, all of a sudden Alphabet, Google, and all that's under there is up and they're happy, but the Apple is sad. Why is this important? This also means that we're not necessarily as enthralled with the latest Apple iPhone for the replacement cycle. I didn't get one in the replacement cycle and they weren't offering particular deals. I looked at it and I said, you know what, I really don't need to upgrade. I've got plenty of storage left. My phone's fine. You know, thanks to them not programming the battery to die. That's my opinion, but more than one person has accused Apple of programming batteries to die in the past to get us to upgrade phones. Whatever the truth is, you decide, but I saw no reason to be an upgrade. So I'm not in the super cycle right now. And as you take a look here, there have been times where Apple really popped. Now remember, we had COVID in here coming out of COVID, but since then Apple's kind of dropped down and had to grow back again. And so my sense, Apple needs to come up with something new, interesting, and driving forward that we all want to see, not just rely on the iPhone App Store to make their money and on music and on video and other things, Apple TV. They really need something. Meanwhile, guess who got with the program in AI? Bump, 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 bump with Gemini 3. And there you have it. And that's why Alphabet is above Apple and probably not going to be looking back anytime soon. Well, that's my 5 numbers this week on Numbers Scream. That's what I think. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think, what you want to see. And if you want us to go through your company the way we go through these numbers, contact Bet David Consulting, where you'll find Patrick Bet David, Tom Ellsworth, the BizDoc, yours truly, and many other fantastic resources and conferences and events that help you build your company forward. Bet David Consulting, the link is right there. Check that out. Until next time, I'm Tom Ellsworth, the BizDoc, and I hope I left you better than I found you.